Hey, I'm Anya, Realtor with Bosley Real Estate and host of Who's in My House, the Toronto Real Estate podcast with expert perspectives and honest conversations. Let's see who's in my house. All right, today we have a different kind of guest, Katie Walker.
Hello.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a stager in Toronto. We're based out of Etobicoke, but do Toronto, Oakville, primarily working in the high end. But we do kind of all over, all different types of staging, but I would say that's our niche.
Okay.
And we do staging, but also some design projects as well.
Like interior design?
Yeah, so we do decorating, but also full-scale design renovations.
Oh, cool. So someone could hire you and be like, I just bought this house. I don't know how to furnish it. Can you?
Exactly. A lot of our clients are like past staging clients, and then they move into their new house, and then we help them decorate, or, other people to call us just for design projects separately also.
Oh, cool. And you also have started doing virtual staging, or?
We do, but kind of shifting away from it.
Okay.
It's very time consuming.
I believe it.
And it's just like we have so much going on otherwise.
Yeah, if you're more focused on the staging projects and
Yeah.
that's where your passion is, then
Yeah, I do feel like the future maybe we'll get back into it, but I feel like we're not there yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like as a market.
Yeah. Well, I think also virtual staging, I personally use more if we don't have an ability to stage, like maybe the property is tenanted and we just like don't have the option, or if there's a specific room that maybe has like a flexible use.
100%.
And so I've used virtual staging to kind of display like, look, we've got it set up as a nursery, but this could also function as a guest room or an office.
And that's what we'll do more of now.
Yeah.
So like a hybrid. Typical, like before what we would do is like a condo, like a 1-bedroom condo when the budget didn't allow.
Yeah.
And it's like less of what we do. I would
Totally.
say it's more if we're physically staging also.
Yeah, as like alterations.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about was how you've seen like buyer expectations in terms of, like with respect to staging shift since the pandemic. Have you kind of like changed strategies? Have you like shifted strategies? Is there a certain kind of focus that you're,
I do think things have changed a lot in so many different ways, but like what I see is just the volume. Like during the pandemic, we were just putting out staging so quickly. Everything was just more about like the ability to flip a staging within like a few hours.
Right.
And just do it quickly. And we would do so many a week.
Okay.
Now it feels like it's shifted, like the expectation of staging is higher. Like it really has to be very cohesive, very thought out, very perfect, and luxury, high end. That's kind of why we've shifted more to the luxury. Is because that is more, I feel like, the concern of people. If your house is sitting on the market for longer and people are seeing it 1 time, 2 times, maybe like a buyer seeing it 3 times.
Yeah, they're revisiting.
Yeah, they're gonna want it to be perfect.
Totally. I've noticed with buyers kind of a few main focuses ever since the pandemic, or really during the pandemic, a little bit less now. People have put a huge emphasis on making sure that there's a workspace in the house. And so, kind of like they'll look for, is there a way to fit an office into my living room? Is there a way, like, where can I fit an office? Or if it's, a couple and they're both working from home, how can we separate that space? So have you kind of shifted away from that now that people are going back into office?
I think a home office is always a good thing if you can fit it. But I think during the pandemic, it was like cram an office in the corner of your dining room. Like it was just like get an office in there and just like make it happen. But if there's room for it, I think we would definitely add it, but it's not a number one priority. Also, if there's like a 3rd bedroom or something, you might want to make that a nursery. It really depends on the demographic, but it's not 100% necessary to put an office in.
Yeah, and you actually were saying you recently sold your house and you had a big toss-up between what to do with your 3rd bedroom.
Yes.
So what did you end up deciding on, and how did you decide?
Yeah, so I ultimately did a nursery.
Okay.
And it was really because the area and the demographic of the area are more families. So that 3rd bedroom was really, really small. So it kind of just needed to be something that was usable. And a nursery it felt like the right fit for the area. And that might not be the same if my same house was in Midtown or Summer Hill or something, maybe I would choose an office.
Right.
But it's a young family area.
Right. So you kind of know that the buyer that's, you know, walking in is probably either has a baby or is planning on having a baby, and they want to see that that room can function.
Yeah, and I think if you fit a nursery, you can definitely fit an office. I think it's probably harder to visualize a nursery and all the pieces that kind of go with that.
Totally.
So yeah, it just made sense in this specific instance.
Got it. Just kind of jumping back to what you said earlier, one of the things you saw during the pandemic was like really rapid turnarounds for staging. You know, for anyone who maybe was not following the Toronto real estate market closely, that was a crazy time in real estate.
Crazy.
Things were, so I guess, were you just trying to fit as many stagings in to a day as possible?
Yeah, I mean, I think because interest rates were so low, people were buying a lot. And then when you buy, you know, maybe have a quick closing to get the sale done in a bidding war, you have to sell your house quickly. So people would call us and be panicked to get their property on the market. And it's just kind of like a cycle.
Right. So you'd have someone be like, I need you to stage my house in 4 days. Please come. And then you have to like really just figure out, I'm sure also at that point you were like running low on, you know, staging items in the warehouse and like.
Yeah, we were just transitioning to our warehouse. So we were buying so much furniture just constantly. But a lot of it was like taking a staging down and then cut and paste it into another property.
So essentially like first thing in the morning you go and you destage a property and then you literally take all of that and go to the next property and just redo it again.
It was just so busy. Yeah. Which is great. Like it gave us such a boost in business, but it's just different. Like how I was saying in what the expectation is like now, like it was way faster than it is now. Now people are just like more thoughtful and take, you know, a month of preparation before the staging goes in, and you know, want to like maybe have things perfectly coordinated, which is like I love that. I love doing things that are like a little more thought out and not so crazy like they were in the pandemic.
But I definitely also prefer like when we have a little bit more time to stage. Obviously when we need a 2-week turnaround, but you know, there's always so much stress, and I feel like the clients are just like, usually they don't get themselves ready in time, so you walk in and there's like still boxes everywhere, and there's only so much you can do, and like kind of, I guess, a big part of our like the realtor's job in that is like project managing and making sure that, you know, the checklist that you've provided to the seller is like they've got it, they've done all of the things that they need to do, and that like the property's been cleaned before it gets staged and everything is prepared, and then also like trying to schedule photos and is there going to be enough time. So
when you have the time to prepare, it's like everything just turns out better. The painting will turn out better. You have like the time to really fine tune it, and when someone walks into a property, it's like they can feel those little details if they've been missed or if they've been like hit perfectly. It really translates. Like you wouldn't think so, but when all those little details line up, it like comes across as a well-maintained home.
Totally. And I also find, I mean, your style of staging is very like, it feels like it's someone's home and they just have very good taste and live like it's a magazine.
Oh my God, I'm happy you said that, because that is my goal, to make sure it feels like someone stylish and tidy lives there.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess like you're not necessarily touring all sorts of houses all the time, so you might not see what else is out there, but there is such a stark difference between an intentional home staging and just a staging. I don't know how to phrase it, but I call it the HomeSense stage. It's like they literally, everything is from HomeSense. I love HomeSense. But like they leave the tags on everything, so there's like literally the price tag is still hanging off of it. And then my favorite is the beds that are not beds. Oh, I know you don't
my
really.
My nightmare.
I know, my nightmare. I know you don't do that, but I once had someone, I think when I first got my license, I wasn't paying attention, and then I was showing this place that was, you know, kind of that like the HomeSense kind of quick stage, and someone sat on the not bed and it like toppled over. Because to anyone who like doesn't know this, the like I don't know, we need like a better term for this, but like the staging that we're referring to, it'll literally be like a piece of plywood with maybe boxes, if you're lucky, a mattress topper, and then it's being held up by either boxes or like upside down garbage bins. Yeah, and then it says please do not sit. And that's because if you sit, it'll break.
Yeah. It's, definitely not ideal.
No.
The worst, I think, is blow-up mattresses. In the beginning, I tried that, and we'd come to a staging to pick it up after a few days, maybe, during the pandemic, and it would be, like, deflated. It just, you have to use a real bed.
I feel like that maybe happened with me.
Oh, really?
I think No, I vaguely remember, I think one of the stagings you did for me may have been a blow-up bed.
Yeah.
And I think you were like, but that was like deep pandemic. That was like 2021. And then I think you were like, we realized there's a hole, we're going to like replace it. Yeah. And so I think you had to come back.
Right. Yeah. It's like learning as you go, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like you only have so much inventory.
Well, and it's like, there's so many different levels of stager. Now we've kind of leveled up to the point where we have a big warehouse and can store, 50 mattresses. Yeah. But at that point, we were just like, growing.
Totally.
So I mean that is one of those things that seems like it would be okay to use a blow up, but in function it doesn't really work.
Yeah, maybe if you get like a super high end one, but then at that point you can just get a cheap mattress.
Never.
Okay.
Never a blow up or like a fake bed. Yeah, you just can't. It's got to be real.
Yeah,
it comes across like those little details to a buyer. It does add up. Like it's like not authentic almost.
No, and I honestly think no matter what level of price point you're at, like even if you're very entry level, even if you're in a one bed condo, I think that kind of like inexpensive, quick staging really turns off a lot of buyers because it feels cheap and it doesn't come across as like, it's hard to envision yourself living in the space when it looks like you've just walked into like, I don't even know.
Like this, like Sears bed section.
Yeah, totally. Like it's not set up in a way that a lot of people would kind of, envision their space. And then they walk in and they're like, this doesn't feel expensive. Like, why do I want to spend $500,000 on this one bedroom condo if it feels cheap?
And it's hard for people to pinpoint what that is, but it is all those details, those prep details of like the painting, the trim, everything being done properly. Yeah. And the staging and everything actually being thought through for that specific space.
Yeah, the colors make a huge difference. And even like, it kind of makes the property feel like a flip. Like you walk in and you're like, I feel like they maybe just flipped this. Like they threw on a coat of paint. Yeah. They put on those, everyone's favorite gray laminate floors. And then they just like, ran to, whatever HomeSense Winners and got whatever items they could. And there's no flow.
Yeah, 100%.
And that I find really, the other thing I find buyers have a really hard time with is an empty space when it's not staged. And another thing I don't love is like partial staging. I know sometimes you've got to do it. Yeah. But I've noticed the number one issue buyers have when we walk into a house that's not staged or is staged in a way that's not really how they would use the space is like depth. There's a real issue with like depth perception.
100%.
And the number of times I've walked into an empty bedroom and they're like, I don't even think I could fit a bed in here.
I know, but a king bed probably fit.
King bed fully would fit. Yeah. I mean, I always look at the outlet spacing because that kind of tells us, was this built to accommodate a king? Yeah. But it just feels so small when you walk in and there's nothing.
Even when you see like developers doing floor plans of furniture, those aren't even a good gauge.
Oh, they're so inaccurate.
Because sometimes they'll like make the furniture so tiny so the space looks huge. Like if you actually, you have to get furniture in there.
You have to get furniture
in there. Or virtually stage it. Like that is something that's very inexpensive. Or like a room, like you do a partial stage and you have a secondary bedroom. Yeah, if you have to staged for budget reasons. Totally. Then that's fine because you can kind of gauge somewhat. Yeah. But I mean, there's nothing that's going to replace real furniture.
No, real furniture is definitely top tier. And I honestly think like, I know people are trying to cut costs in this market because it is tough. Properties sit for a long time. There's a chance that they don't sell. But I think if, as agents, like we want to go in with our best foot forward and set the property up for success. Like I think proper staging is so crucial.
Oh my God, so it's hard to, bite the bullet. Yeah. I think it makes a big difference. Like when selling my house, it's like I saw so many other listings around my house that are still on the market are sold within 7 days, like not at the price we wanted, but it sold.
Yeah, it moved.
And it was like, and it was like, you know, perfectly staged, obviously. I would hope so.
Obviously.
I would hope. But yeah, it's just like that little bit more edge to like everybody else in your area in a difficult market. I think it's so important.
Yeah. I mean, I know, like, I get it. If, you know, I take on a listing and I'm covering staging costs and it doesn't sell, then I'm eating, you know, $7,500 and that's my loss. But totally. I think that, you know, if our job is to do what's best for our clients and get their property sold, whether it's a house or condo, like, we have to try.
Yeah. Or the homeowner should pay for the staging.
Yeah, I think
it's like a good investment for them, you know, at the end of the day.
It is very much a good investment. I know, like, a lot of agents will cover the cost of staging. I think now there is a shift, and, you know, if the agent is covering the cost of staging, they're having the seller pay it up front.
Yes.
So that they also have an investment, because, you know, if I go in and I'm like, okay, don't worry, I'll pay for everything up front, like, it's, you know, it's on me, you don't have to worry about anything, then they're also less invested in the sale. And it's easier for them to, you know, be like, I changed my mind. And then again, it's for, like, me to turn around and try and reclaim the money I'm owed is so difficult.
Yeah, ultimately it's an investment for everybody.
Yeah, for everyone. Yeah. So I feel like some people assume that staging is just for the photos. So they, like, get it all nice, take photos, and then, you know, especially if maybe an owner is living through it being staged, and then kind of, like, drops it and, like, goes back to however, like, they've laid out their furniture. How do you feel like the purpose of staging differs for photos as opposed to showings?
I think both are very important. Photos are important because that's going to bring people to the property. And really, like, whenever I finish a staging, I always take pictures and I always take a video and then review. Some things you miss in person that you see so obviously in a photo. So it's really key to make sure the staging is perfect.
Interesting. Okay.
Because there's nothing worse than getting professional photos back and seeing a pillow not perfectly placed or a lampshade that's not, like, perfectly level. All those things just irk me so much when that happens. So I have to be, you know, very cautious of, like, how it appears in photos.
Totally.
But as far as it, you know, what's more important, I think seeing the space in person, like, once that person actually is attracted to the space and they feel what the space feels like perfectly done, that's what's, like, ultimately going to sell it.
Right.
It's, like, such an emotional buying a house that, I mean, it has to matter. It definitely does.
Yeah, it has to matter. And you have to be able to, like, walk through the space and be able to envision something, you know, for yourself. Like, you can't just walk into a space and, like, if you're buying this home, you have to be able to see yourself in it. Yeah. And, you know, when something is staged with non-furniture, I actually have a lot of clients that want to be able to, like, sit down in a chair for a couple minutes and just, like, feel the space.
Totally.
And, like, this is going to be my, like, am I going to spend $1.5 million on this property? I feel like I should be able to sit in it for a couple minutes. Yeah. That also, like, does go back to the pandemic aspect where we were just, like, in and out of houses in 3 minutes. People were not noticing the little differences because it was like, oh, the house is here, it has walls, okay, cool, I'm gonna buy it. Whereas now we're taking a lot more time with our showings. We're, you know, like, walking through, we're looking at the details, we're seeing the staging items. Is this how we would want, like, is this how I would want to stage?
Totally.
Like,
and maximizing function, like, that you're gonna see in person. In photos, some things, like, can be kind of tricky. Like, it seems like they're using a wide angle lens or they're making a room feel bigger than it is in person. So I think people need to see things in real time.
The wide angle lens is every buyer's worst enemy.
I know.
But I agree with you. Photos are absolutely what bring the buyers to the property. And I find that, not that we're going to go deep into professional photos, but any listing that does not have professional photos and then on top of that is not staged, I find the likelihood of my clients being interested in going to see it is much lower because they look at it and they're like, this house doesn't look very nice. And then they don't even want to go. Like, it's not going to be one of the options on their radar. And so I think that, again, like, you, if you're listing a house, are doing a disservice to your sellers by not putting up that investment and not suggesting staging and professional photos, because then, like, you are creating an obstacle for yourself. Buyers are not going to be as interested in coming through your property if it does not present well in photos.
Right. And it's like we're inundated with so many pictures of beautiful properties and, you know, interior design through Instagram, like Pinterest, all of that. Yeah. We see so much beauty and like
it's very much about the aesthetic nowadays.
Yeah, it's like if you see, it's almost more obvious if you don't do photos or like have iPhone photos. You're like, what is this place even? Because we're so used to seeing things that are perfect. We're so used to it.
Another thing, I'm curious to get your opinion. I feel like you'll be with me on this. I personally am a big believer of the first listing photo
100%
being interior.
Yeah.
Unless the interior is like very shabby or there's like the exterior is so magnificent that it needs to be the first photo.
Yep.
I think that like especially with condos, the first photo does not need to be the building.
Right.
No one needs to see the building until the end. Until they've made it to photo number 40, we don't need to see the building, but we want to see the space because you're buying the space.
Yeah.
And like same thing. My house when I bought it was like bile yellow. It was
bile yellow.
It was not great.
Right.
And I think the first photo was the exterior and I was like, oh, this house looks so ghetto.
I know.
And then I started looking at the inside and I was like, oh, this is so cute. And I did within a year paint the exterior of the house because I was like, this is just so horrific. But like there are aspects about the curb appeal as well. Like I spend 99% of my time in the house, not in front of my house.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it depends somewhat on what the house is.
Totally.
Sometimes if you're a first-time home buyer, you're looking for kind of a tear down or a fixer-upper. So maybe you might want to see the front, or if the curb appeal is like so fantastic.
Yeah, totally.
I could see like, it's not black and white, but 100%. I feel like the lifestyle feel of like a living room, you want to kind of envision yourself in there. So I think an interior shot is most of the time.
Yeah, I guess if we're going into more of the luxury sector and, you know, for example, in Lawrence Park, there are infill houses and then there are the kind of like Tudor style houses. So you might want to use an exterior photo to demonstrate like what the actual style of house is, because that may be something the buyer's looking for.
I agree.
Whereas like an East End semi or like a semi in the West End, for the most part, tend to have very like similar vibes. So unless it's like outstanding, I would usually go interior photo.
Yeah, I think that's probably 90% of properties. It would be interior.
Yeah. Especially recently, people are like so into interior design and design trends. What are some of the like top trends you're seeing this year?
So I think design trends are because we have so much information out there, I think it's kind of like a choose your own adventure a little bit sometimes.
Totally.
Like there's a well executed version of so many different types of style.
Yeah.
And I guess it depends like on what you're designing. But overall, like what I feel is like what direction I'm going in is more of like a warm tone.
Okay.
Neutrals, but like also like earthy, grounded feeling.
Okay.
Versus like anything that's too stark. I think more like warm woods, like kitchens, for instance, like super white kitchens, like slick, you know, that kind of look is more on its way out. And I feel like woods and even like mid-tone browns are coming back like in a serious way.
Yeah.
Moody interiors, like an office that's like dark with like leathers. I feel like I'm very drawn to right now.
Okay.
So a more like storied feel, grounded, 70s almost.
Okay.
A lot of times I'm seeing, but again, it depends on the property.
Yeah, I guess the mid-century modern.
Yes. I feel like even more like almost like the new traditional feel, like a little bit more like some antiques like pop up within like a transitional room. Yeah, it's like just more like found objects. Like I think there's just people are craving more like maybe grounded feel, like a warmth
And like homey.
Yes.
Not just
ultra contemporary.
Right. So do you think we're kind of moving away from like the minimalistic?
I think so.
And now we're kind of getting back into like maybe we'll have like a clunky chair that's like a burnt orange.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And like greens and less like jewel tones, like things that are more natural.
Okay.
At least that's how I am kind of gravitating towards.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like I feel like I'm seeing more like greens, oranges, like those kinds of earthy tones as opposed to like the royal blue velvety chairs or like the yellows, like that kind of stuff when I'm walking through homes, especially like kind of more high-end homes with like luxury staging or that have had interior design. What are your thoughts on sage green?
I love sage green. I mean, I'm sitting on green right now. I think it's beautiful, but like lighter green.
It's technically gray.
This is gray?
My fiance and I have a long-standing debate about this couch.
Funny. Is that there's definitely green undertones.
Yeah, actually, in this lighting, it looks very green.
Okay, that's the thing. Lighting.
The couch is technically nickel gray.
Oh my god!
But I guess nickels turn greenish.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyways, this is a debate. He's going to be so happy when he sees this clip.
He's on team green.
He's on team green. I'm on team gray. But as I look at it with the lighting that we have, it does look extremely green.
And I'm like very sensitive to like undertones on things, so
absolutely has a green
undertone. You can both be right at the same time.
Sure. But yeah,
like a greeny gray.
I need to be right. But yeah, I feel like sage green is everywhere.
Yeah.
And when I redid my kitchen cabinets recently, and I was like scared to do sage green because I was like, everyone's doing sage green. I don't want to be everyone. Mm-hmm. And also, what if next year everyone's over sage?
Right. That's why I feel like a trend has to be like, you know, what you really love.
Totally.
It's hard. It's nice to be more timeless and like gravitate to what works for you.
Yeah. And that was one of the things, like, I know so many homeowners are so focused on, you know, if they do renovations, doing something that will boost the resale value. Mm-hmm. And they're so focused on making choices that will assist them if they sell in the future. Whereas I've tried to be a little bit more intentional in doing things that will make me happy.
Yeah, I agree.
So like our kitchen, we ended up doing kind of like a very light teal. Mm-hmm. And maybe someone will hate it, but we like it, and that was the choice that we made for ourselves so that we enjoy our kitchen.
Yeah. Home has to reflect you at the end of the day, and you'll ultimately find the buyer that's somewhat similar to you, probably.
Yeah, and if you don't, then you can always do some like painting and change things before you list. Like I had a client who loved color, and each room was a different color, including all of the main living spaces. And before we listed, I was like, we need to change the main living space. It was like the bedrooms, ideally we paint because they were like bright colors. Mm-hmm. But if we can't paint them, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. But I think with the living space, we want it to be very neutral because we don't want to, a lot of buyers nowadays don't want to do any work. They don't want to paint. They want to move into a house and just put their furniture in.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that was kind of a, like deciding what to paint, what not to paint.
I agree with that. Like whenever we do our walkthroughs before the actual staging plan comes out, that's exactly what I would do. Neutralize the main floor. If the colors in the bedroom are workable, it's like sometimes you just neutralize a really bold color. And I don't know, say it's like a hot pink. You could make it into a girl's room and make it really fun and add like those elements that make it work.
Yeah, totally.
So there's definitely options with too much color. You can minimize it.
Yeah,
that's what my job is. That's what it's all about.
Totally. And I very often rely on like a stager to do that, and I kind of will lean on you to make recommendations to the seller on what should be moved into storage, what should be decluttered. Like I can give the basic recommendations, but ultimately that's not my area of expertise. And I know there's a lot of agents that would do their own staging. I don't think that could ever be me, as much as I would love to do that.
I think it's a collaboration too sometimes. Like certain agents who are maybe more inclined to kind of do some of the staging maybe in the past and have hired us.
Yeah.
I'll work with an agent and kind of figure out the overall plan so it just is like good for everybody.
Yeah. I just like, as much as I wish that I was like, I think I have an eye for design and that I can recognize good design, but I don't think that I have the like creativity to be able to design a space in the best way.
Right.
Without
it takes a lot of experience and time. Like
totally. It took me a year and a half to decide on my coffee table.
Right.
It's just like there's so many options. I get overwhelmed.
There's
I'm like,
I don't know. Choices.
There's so many choices.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely like lean on the stager to provide the seller with recommendations, and then I kind of help facilitate that. But yeah, sometimes they're like, what do you think we should stage this room? And I was like, well, based on the demographics, I think like it's better to do an office, but I'm going to lean on the stager to make that decision.
Yeah.
Do you have any like forecast for design trends in 2026? Like whether it's colors, style, anything that you think is kind of like on the up and up?
Well, I think going back to like the trends and like how I feel about trends, I think we're going in that direction of like warmer, comfier, a lot of layers of texture.
Okay.
Like that 70s inspiration. I do feel like that is what I'm seeing.
Okay.
A lot of.
So you think we're kind of moving towards like 70s design era?
Yeah, like those like big sectionals, maybe like an orange chair, like that umber color. Like those are definitely, at least in my world, what I'm seeing things kind of shift towards.
Or
yeah,
like
also like a bit more traditional.
Like a hanging textile. No hanging textile.
Well, I mean, that's like, in my mind, that feels like more boho, but maybe done
That's
right.
fair. Yeah, that's fair.
But just like still,
no design.
I get what you mean though, because like that is 70s ultimately. But I think like a light hand of 70s.
Okay.
Like still like sleek lines.
Okay.
But maybe more like textures. Boucle is still, I think, going to be around for a long time. Like that knobbly. Shearling, I'm seeing a lot of.
Yeah.
Just those like big round tub chairs.
So less, and also like less fear about incorporating color. Because I think for a long time everyone was like white, gray, black. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like less gray. In the future,
we're all over gray.
I think the pendulum has swung away from the gray now. I mean, there are like warm taupes that are good too, but like the like stark blue gray.
Yeah,
I think
or
it's done.
Gray with green undertones.
Yeah, I don't feel, that's maybe why I don't feel like this is green, because gray in my mind feels like so harsh.
Yeah, like the word I've used to describe those, and I know you know the kind of like property I'm talking about, just feels like sterile.
Yes,
it's cold.
People don't want that.
No,
they want warmth.
They don't want to live in a
just
hospital
feel
room.
Comfortable and serene. Like that is very much, I think, like the words that people want when they are in a house now. Okay,
so recap: warm, woody undertones, some kind of like maybe bulkier furniture, layers, like bulky but chic.
Yeah, bulky but chic.
Bulky chic. One other thing I wanted to ask was, what is like what are a couple things that you see in like other staging that just like gives you the ick?
I know when I'm staging like a living room, I don't love like a big TV in the living room. Like that's something I'm really kind of against with clients.
Okay.
I strongly suggest they remove their like main floor, like formal living room TV.
Okay.
Like we said, beds that are not real beds. Like speaking from experience and having done a blow up before, like I know that is a no-go in my mind. I don't walk into a lot of other stagers' properties.
I guess that's fair. Enough. So you don't really see it as much.
But I see some things online.
Yeah.
I just think like there's so many different types of stagers. Like some rent furniture, and the furniture that's like well suited to the space is so key.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll see stagings and it's very obvious when there's rental furniture happening.
Yeah, and the rental furniture was not selected intentionally.
Exactly. So I think that is like when it's not thoughtful design.
Okay. So no thought.
No thought, and you just like put a rental piece of furniture in there. Like that's not my preference.
Yeah.
But I know there's like budgets that people are trying to uphold.
How do you feel about live, laugh, love?
Oh gosh. Don't love it. Don't love it.
Those signs, I can't.
Oh my gosh.
I can't. There are some that are cute. Yeah. For sure, there are some that are never live, laugh, love.
I know. Maybe like go into the lake. Like some of those are like cute if you're at a cottage or something.
Sure,
like that.
but like generally those
signs,
those signs drive me crazy. Or like they're like wash, fold, laundry.
Yeah,
rinse, fold, repeat.
Too many inspirational quotes. Like save that for your diary or something. Like that's not really for
I'm totally with you. Okay, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yes.
If you like the episode so far, don't forget to hit subscribe and check out my other socials. So I wanted to do like a rapid fire, hot or not, like or hate, love or hate, whatever, for design trends. Okay. So we'll both all read it out, and then you can answer, and then I'll answer. First one, karate chopped pillows.
I do to a certain extent think they're good, like hot, I guess, hot.
Okay.
But if it's too contrived, that like you kind of have to do it like not too much.
Just a light chop. I'm with you. I agree.
It makes it look organized and like intentional.
Yeah. Not when it's like halfway.
Yeah.
Okay. Neutral tones or pop of color? That's this or that.
Which one? Neutral tones.
Yeah. Couch against the wall or floating?
When you can float, but you can't always.
Yeah.
But I think floating just looks more designed. It looks more like, I guess intentional is like my word of the day today. It looks more like thought through.
I do agree. And it's funny because I saw a TikTok like years ago that was like, if your couch isn't against the wall, that means you're rich. And I was like, well, I actually have nowhere else to put my couch that would be against the wall, but thank you, I will take it.
Like if your house is big enough, I guess that's like the equate. Like if there's a big family room and you can float a sofa, that's great.
Well, yeah, for me, it's just like we don't have an entry hallway, so if I put my couch against the wall, then it's blocking the door.
Oh yeah, my couch is also against the wall, but that's just like we're limited by our space.
Totally.
I live in a semi also.
Okay. How do you feel about glass railings and partitions?
So when they're done right, I think it can work.
Okay.
Because in my house, I actually have glass going up my stairs, but I warmed it up by putting a railing of wood on it. So it still gets the effect of like the space, because I think glass is really effective making a space look bigger.
Okay.
But sometimes it can feel harsh. So you have to balance, like as like in the design part of things, you really have to make sure to offset it with something warmer, which is usually wood.
I err towards not liking it, mostly because of the functionality. Like I think adding a railing on top makes a lot of sense, but when you just have glass, like, and you can't use it as a railing because if you touch it, then your fingerprints get on it, especially if someone has kids.
Oh, yes.
Disaster. You can't because you're just going to be there with Windex nonstop.
Oh, yeah, it's my daughter's number one chore. Yeah. I'm like, you are on cleaning handprints off of glass. That's your job.
Yep. If you touch it, you clean it.
Yeah.
Accent walls.
I prefer no accent walls. I think it looks better just, the whole room to be drenched in color and do like the ceiling and everything and make, a moodier look.
Okay.
Rather than an accent wall.
Okay. I think I'm also 50-50. It depends on the accent wall, depends on the space. And a big thing with something like an accent wall too is that it's done to your taste. And so it's very likely that a buyer is not going to appreciate it and they're just going to take it out or paint it a different color. Yeah. And that's just something that you have to know going into it.
Yeah. And in photos, like staging wise, I think it cuts things up. Doesn't feel like it flows.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Floating shelves in kitchens.
I think those are good. It depends though if you're good at dusting, because I've heard they get very disgusting, and you have to like be on top of the cleaning of them. But looks wise, I think it could be a good option to make a space feel more open.
Okay, what about, I'm seeing this new trend where people are taking the cabinet doors off of their cabinets and just doing open cabinets.
Oh, that just looks messy.
Agreed. Yeah, too much clutter. You have to like now spend so much time also organizing your plates. I don't want to do that.
It's not practical.
Not at all. Artificial scents.
There's such a range of like good quality artificial scents, like Le Labo, Joe Malone. Like I'm all for that. But really, really fake, like a Febreze or like a plug-in air scent or whatever those are. That's my worst nightmare.
I agree. I think it also needs to be tailored to the vibe. I generally do not like artificial scents, mostly because my like agent brain immediately is like, is there something that they're trying to cover, especially if the house has like water issues in the basement? Is there a smell of mold that they're trying to cover, a smell of gas? But also there are a lot of people with scent allergies, and I once walked into a house where like my client and I both couldn't breathe by the end of it because it was that intense. But yeah, I agree, like maybe like a little incense, like a nice like high quality candle, absolutely, but plug in Febreze or like the pods. Oh, please don't. Yeah, please don't.
Endocrine disruptors, not good. They're so bad. Even just in life to be ingesting those is so bad for you.
This is like very quick side note. I was showing a house the other day and they had a Christmas candle lit in the kitchen. And I was like, it's July.
Yeah. Let's not think about winter right now.
I don't want to smell Christmas. I don't want to think about Christmas. Yeah. It was pretty funny, and the house was also like empty, so I was like, who came and lit this candle before our showing?
And like, was that the top priority?
Yeah, they were like, we must light the Christmas candle. Yeah. Okay, TVs in staged living rooms.
I do not like a TV in a staged living room. It's just a black hole. It's like, you could add a mirror, or you could add a piece of art. There's so much more interesting things in a photo. Yeah. In real life, yeah, if you function, like if that's the functionality of the room, so be it. But I feel like we should keep it more calm in a living room.
I kind of disagree, and mostly just because I find a lot of my clients immediately, if there isn't a clear spot for a TV, will be like, where does the TV go?
100%, yeah. I get
that. I see what you mean, and I think like if you're replacing it with like a painting, totally fine, because it's showing us that there's somewhere that we could put it.
Yeah, you need to allude to a TV still, or show like a clear
or like
place.
The frame TVs are nice, like you could do that. But I agree, like it doesn't necessarily look nice, but I find that it is a high priority for a lot of clients. So if there isn't a clear spot for a TV, then I would want to see a TV put somewhere, so we know where they keep it. Wallpaper feature walls.
I love wallpaper in a whole room. Yeah, like if it's not just on one wall, like I think in the whole space, I love.
I would say I really like wallpaper, like entry, if there's like a small entryway, entry kind of like,
or a powder room, or somewhere where you can get a little bit more bold.
Yes,
I think it's great.
Yeah, because I think if you were to wallpaper an entire like living room, then it would feel like really intense. But when it's like a smaller contained space, absolutely.
Yeah, and with something that's really striking, like if you're going to do a whole living room, you can with like a very neutral, and then at that point, is it really worth the cost to do
love
like
a bold powder room?
Yes,
that is like my top.
Yeah,
if I walk into a powder room and it's boring, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
I know, it's such a waste of a perfect space to do something fun.
Open books on coffee tables.
I think just sitting there open, I don't love, but if there's a really cool holder for it, like sometimes there's like those lucite holders or a brass holder that like really position the book in a more like display way.
Right.
That I think is cool.
Okay. Or I guess if like the page is very cool.
Yeah.
There's something interesting on the page. Luxury staging for like a non-luxury home.
Yes, all day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to make your space look more expensive.
Yeah.
Like you were saying with a condo that's like maybe they put gray floors in and very white, you know, very basic builder grade, you can make a staging look more expensive. Even with those finishes, it could come across more expensive if you have a nice staging.
Totally. Yeah, I think that a cheap flip, for example, a Home Depot reno would look much less inexpensive and tacky if there was like a high-end staging done, or high-end furniture.
Definitely.
Staging with books turned backgrounds, so like the spine's hidden.
I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that?
I like the book spine to show. But I mean, sometimes like when clients, like I'm so adaptable sometimes when we're using homeowner items, and if there are books that they've left that they didn't want to pack away for whatever reason, are very colorful and interrupting the flow of like my color palette, I'll flip them around. But it's not ideal.
Yeah, so you'd rather spines out preferred, but if you have to flip it, it's not the end of the world. Bed staging with decorative trays.
I just feel like nobody lives like that. No. And I'm very much in the way of like, I want this house to feel like somebody lives there. So I say no.
What about like staged fake fruit?
No, but I do on the other side of that. Like I saw some faux artichokes and I was like, that's kind of cool. Those could be like interesting if you get a good faux artichoke. But like a fake lemon, a fake lime, an orange, like anything like that just looks so obvious.
I just, you know what? If you're going to do it, put the real fruit and then just come every 4 days and flip it, turn it over.
That's fair.
Another one is like when they have staged fake alcohol.
Oh, yeah, that's...
like the wine bottle that's been emptied and like they just,
or the Pellegrino bottles. I do not like that.
If it's there, then it's for me to drink. It's not for
it just feels like inauthentic.
I once saw one that had staged baguettes.
Oh my gosh, I've seen that too. Just in other agents' Instagram
I've ever seen in my life.
It's like that's just not chic.
It has I think the key really is like it needs to be how someone would live. And no one, like, surely someone, but so few people actually have trays on their beds with a bottle of wine and 2 wine glasses.
It just reads as like you're trying too hard.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. Statement light fixtures in otherwise like simple rooms.
Yeah. Love. Yeah. I mean, if you have a very simple room, I mean, it depends. That could be like the key feature. And then you could kind of make everything else neutral. So that is like some striking, beautiful art piece.
Yeah. I also think if you put like a really cool light fixture in a simple room, it also makes it not simple anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're now adding a layer of complication. Like maybe it's just like a boring, like your 3rd bedroom, it's all neutral. And then you kind of like add a statement piece. It really elevates the space 100%. And now it's not simple anymore. Yeah. Okay. Layering rugs.
I don't do it because it reads boho to me, which is like not really my, like what I gravitate towards.
Not the vibe.
Not my vibe. Like someone else. It's cool.
Yep. Totally.
But yeah, I would say no to that.
I also would not like that. I feel like it would be too many textures for my feet.
Yeah. It feels too busy.
Yes. Agreed. Now we're going to move into the hard truths. Mm-hmm. So how stagers and realtors have honest conversations with sellers in terms of, you know, setting expectations. So I guess for you, like how top one would be, you know, where do you feel are the biggest pain points you get from sellers that you have to really like work to overcome?
So it's always different depending on the area, depending on the house, depending on what's necessary. Mm-hmm. But I would say like a lot of times, like walking into a house where someone's been like for 40 years, let's say, they really pride themselves on their house and their design and like how they live. So it's always kind of a conversation. Like I'm constantly like gauging where they're at. I don't want to offend. It's such an emotional time for everybody.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have to also make sure it's maximized from a staging perspective. So it's really kind of a balancing act. But every seller has their limitations on what they're willing to do. So it all has to be like a group effort between the agent, seller, and myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like furniture being removed sometimes is a big pain point. Art being removed sometimes I've done a property where it's like huge red drape valances and I have to figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah. Or if there's like a huge like bulky piece of furniture that's just impossible to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. I think some sellers have a really hard time emotionally separating themselves from their style, their pieces, and it is hard for them to like accept that, you know, maybe their style is not everyone's style, and our job is to make the property attract as many people as possible, and, you know, maybe not every, like the greater percentage or the target demographic is more drawn to a certain style, and we really have to kind of work towards emulating that.
For sure.
Even if it means not using the style that they have.
Yeah. And in that, I really feel like it comes down to, for me, is like the buying of the furniture. Whenever I'm buying furniture, it's like very much trying to hit that middle ground between modern and contemporary and more transitional, and then can work in those like more traditional environments. So it's kind of starts there, and then it's really like what they're willing to let go of. But I always give the recommendation, like if there's a piece of furniture that's way too large, I say you can keep it here, but this is the implication of what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
It's not going to come across as great, and it's going to make buyers feel a certain way. And I'm honest with people about that, but I'm also adaptable.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so much we can do if someone just does not have the capability to move a certain piece out, or if, you know, like they just really don't want to, especially if they're living through the staging.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like living in a staged home versus moving out while it's on the market?
I always think it's best to move out.
Yeah.
Just because everything's going to be perfectly placed when we're done staging it. It's really hard to recreate that if you're not someone who, you know, follows interior design, like knows all the details about like how to perfectly place things. Or if you have kids, they'll misplace certain things. Beds are hard to sleep in and then recreate how we do the beds.
Well, especially because you're using staged linens typically, right? So then they have to like strip the comforter, probably use their own.
Yeah, and it's like, even if they take a picture, which I always say, if you are staying in the house, take a picture and try to redo it. It's never like perfectly crisp.
Yeah.
And I've seen photos the next day, like maybe photos were like 2 days after the staging, and it's just not, like the pillows are not perfect how we left them. And I don't know, to me that matters. It's maybe less of a big deal, but it's always, you know, to leave it as is ideal.
I find the same thing. Definitely like pandemic kind of boom, during the boom market, it was much easier to be like, move into an Airbnb or like stay with family for a week. Your house will be sold by then, and then you can move back in and we'll destage. But now where we're seeing houses sitting on the market for months, it's obviously difficult to expect someone to move out. And so what I've been trying to do is just like have sellers move out at minimum from the time we stage to the time we take photos. And I try to do it either same day if possible or the next day, so that they don't have to be out for as long as possible. Yeah. But at least that way it's still perfect for the photos.
Yes, that I think is more important.
Yeah, and then if it's not like perfectly crisp or one pillow is not placed the right way, it's not the end of the world. Buyers probably won't pick up on it, but in the photos it is so important to have it like perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But it's hard living in a staged house also. Like it's just, it takes a lot to just like constantly reset the house. Like if there's a lot of showings, which hopefully there are in a listing, it's just like you're constantly having, even in my own house, having to like stage my own house and, you know, redo the bed so it was like perfectly staged is not how people live.
It's not how people live.
Even
and
me.
And it
even a stager, I don't live like that.
Well, and also then like, you know, if you have kids or dogs, they come with so many toys and so much clutter and mess, and then you're always worrying about like, is this going to be perfect? And then if there's a showing booked, am I going to have enough time to like clean the house, clean the kitchen
while
like,
you're working a full-time job, or you want to cook a dinner?
It tends to just be easier to not be there, but also in a market where maybe you're only getting one showing every couple of days, it's not necessarily as difficult. So I feel like that's something we gauge based on the market.
Agreed.
Can you kind of walk us through like what a seller should expect when they're staging their property?
Like what they should expect.
Let's say like what to expect on staging day.
Okay, staging day, pretty much we always arrive between 11 and 12 and then finish around 5, depending on the size of the staging.
Yeah.
We come in with a team. So we have a stager team, we have a mover team. So we need like full access to the property because we really just go all in and just like do every room, and we all have kind of different tasks and whatnot. So it's a pretty intense day. So being clear of the house is pretty key.
Yeah.
And then usually I say like not booking photos the same day so we can fine tune everything. But a seller can expect just to be out of the house for that afternoon, and we pretty much get it done. Even houses we've done that are 7 bedrooms, big properties, we pretty much always get them done around 5:30.
Yeah, because I guess you then adjust the team size. If you have more bedrooms or a bigger stage to do, then you would just bring in more people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I always tell clients to not be there on staging day. I also feel like outside of just the convenience for you guys to have full access, I can imagine that it's hard for them to see their home being reconfigured to something that is not them. And I thankfully haven't really had this issue, but I know I know other agents who have had clients like come in after and like move things around because they're like, we don't like this, and they'll like move the chairs, and they're like, this is not the right flow, like this is not the vibe. And so I think my biggest advice to clients when we're staging is just remember that we are doing this to help boost your sale. It is not anything about like it's not to say that your style is not good, or you know, it's really like we're just trying to make it appeal to as many people as possible. So try and just like trust the process and like don't get caught on the little details. Obviously if something is wrong, like if they come in and like an art piece that was put up has a hole in it, that's a different story. But like try and trust the process, even though it's not, you know, it may not be you.
Yeah.
But I also have had clients like walk into houses after they've been staged and be like, oh my God, I actually don't want to move now. Maybe
I've had that happen once. I think the agent was like, really? Like, is that
I'm like, no,
actually happening right now? But they ended up staying. They sold
they?
the house that they were currently living in. They had a condo. And they're like, well, I'm just going to move into the condo and we can sell the house. But I didn't realize, they're like, we didn't realize it could be so like functional and nice. So we've had
I've never had them not sell it because they walked in and it was like so beautiful when it was staged. But yeah,
they do say that a lot.
They'll be like, oh my God, maybe I should just stay.
I know.
I'm like, no.
I'm like, I'll help you on your next house. It's fine.
Yeah. No, if you really want,
you can't really live like that. Also, that's the
thing too. Yeah, is like, remember that this is it staged, and maybe you just needed to configure the space differently, but often, kind of remembering the reasons why you wanted to move, and like it's typically not design. It's just that they've now walked into this house that looks like it's from a magazine,
right?
And they're like, oh my God, my house could be this cute. Yeah,
that's like why pretty much we started taking on design clients or decorating clients, is because people, after they see how a property can be really maximized, they'll want their next place to be, bought intentionally with the furniture and everything perfectly done. It's like, you might as well just do it right off the bat.
I always try to also set really clear timelines with sellers, because the last thing we want is staging day to come and they procrastinated getting all of the things boxed up and moved out of the house.
We've had that happen before. That's very difficult when that happens.
Well, I think actually you and I had a staging where they like didn't move. They were supposed to move something from the upstairs to the basement. And they didn't move it until that day.
I don't remember, but I mean that was fine. A long time that's ago. Not a big deal if it's like one thing and like it has to just be moved to the basement.
Like, we're also still boxes. It's fine. It's
hard when nothing is done though, and they're like, well, we thought you were doing that. It's like, nope. Yeah,
so I'll always try to do a check-in before and be like, good. Can you? If I like physically can't, like if there's a time that I can't physically go there, I'm like, can you send me a video walkthrough of the house?
That's
just so I can kind of see like where you're at with your progress.
I should do that more.
Yeah, I find it's really helpful because then you can kind of see like where they've gotten with that, and I'm like, okay, well, if I have to show up there right now and we have to box things up, then that's what we're going to do. Yeah. But I need to know, like, we can't wait until staging day to find out that we're behind schedule. If we're behind schedule and you need help, I'm going to be there boxing things up with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's such a timeline when photography comes. It's just like a very big trickle effect.
Oh, yeah. If one of those things, like, the listing schedule is so meticulously planned that if one thing goes wrong, if one day gets pushed, often everything else needs to get pushed, because there's also like optimal days of the week to list. And then maybe now we have to push to the next week. Like it is a whole thing. It's a balancing act.
Yes.
And I guess to kind of just recap, like I think exactly what you said, being able to collaborate with the stager, like the realtor and the stager collaborating and being on the same page is so key, because then we can work together to help create a stress-free or minimal stress process for the client,
for sure.
As opposed to, if we're not really communicating or on the same page, then that kind of like it creates friction, and then now they're the middleman.
And a lot of time they've never sold a house before. So it's like they don't know what to do, and we've done this a million times. So it's we're really there for direction for them, or to give them realistic expectations.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, a lot of things fall on them as far as like packing up, but they're ultimately going to have to do that anyways. Some of it is just like timing based.
Yeah. And when I like go in for my initial consult, if we're saying, say it's July right now, we want to list mid-September, I'll tell them like now, like start decluttering now, even if it's slowly, but just like declutter anything that you haven't touched in a year, put it in a box. Closets, like try to empty so that they're like 50-ish% full. Like slowly work on it so that when you decide that you want to list, and you probably are going to want to list 2 weeks from the time that you've decided, we're not in a crunch to get everything done.
Yeah, that's smart.
All right. Well, do you have any like final notes? Any like
No, I feel like we covered
hot tip.
No hot tips. Call me soon, because things are getting busy for the fall. I feel like it's going to be a busy fall market.
Yeah, that's what you're seeing?
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people are waiting. Like they don't want to list. I'm not seeing any new listings this like the last 2 weeks. It's been very slow. I think a lot of people are waiting for the fall.
The prep is like starting earlier than it normally does.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll let you go.
Yeah,
get back to your warehouse.
Yes, we'll do.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing all of your design tips. I'm sure people will really appreciate all of the insight.
Thanks.